Sydney Sweeney fights a losing battle in Clichéd boxing biopic. Even before she became better known for being in the center of an increasingly absurd culture war. https://www.theguardian.com film/August 05 Sydney Sweeney/controversy. The unavoidable campaign to make her Hollywood's next big thing was showing signs of fatigue. The Euphoria grad who gave a resonant performance in reality. https://www.theguardian.com/film/2023 Feb 24 reality review word-for-word replay of FBI interrogation is uncannily brilliant. Scored a sleeper hit with glossed-up rom-com Anyone But You. https://www.theguardian.com film/2023 December 21 Anyone But You movie review. But audiences were more impressed than critics, including myself. I found her performance strangely stilted. There was little interest from either side in her non-horror immaculate. https://www.com/film/2024/immaculate. And earlier this summer her incredulously plotted Apple movie Echo Valley. https://www.com/film/2025/June 15 Echo Valley review wet the way of many Apple movies. No one knows it exists. Two of her festival duds, Eden and Americana, disappeared at the box office, and she now arrives at Toronto in need of a win. And what better way to achieve that by going for an old-fashioned awards play, taking on the role of alternately inspiring and tragic boxer Christy Martin. It's a role that's already been buzzed about for months. Sweeney has been busy laying the standard grueling physical routine groundwork. And at a time when movies about female sports stars still remain thin on the ground despite a swell of interest in them off-screen, it's a needed push in the right direction. But, as perfectly timed as this narrative might be, Christy just isn't nearly good enough. A by-the-numbers slog that fails to prove Sweeney's status as a one to watch. She's a convincing force to be reckoned with inside of the ring. Her training clearly having paid off as she confidently glides from fight to fight. But she can't get us to believe in all that much outside of it, and actors still trying too visibly hard to make it all seem effortless. A few scenes with a more at ease Katie O'Brien as another boxer hint that she might have been the better choice. It's a hefty ask, Sweeney playing the boxer over 20 years as she faced various struggles, and ultimately an impossible one too, her unsureness preventing us from getting beyond the film's surface. Not that there's much more here though. Despite the wealth of detail at play, Australian director David Michôd mostly sticking to the dog-eared playbook, at times that often make the film feel like Walk Hard, but with boxing. There's an excess of loudly soundtracked montages in the first act, yet with such little development outside of them, we're never quite sure what we should be feeling throughout, other than what we know from other boxing movies. It pales in comparison to last Toronto's far smarter female boxer biopic, The Fire Inside. https://theguardian.com/film, article 2024, Sep. 08, The Fire Inside review boxing drama. It's a disappointingly rote way to tell the extraordinary life of Christy, who came from a mining family in West Virginia, and found herself in the ring at a time when women weren't seen there. A rise that sadly involved Jim Martin, Ben Foster, an older manager who takes her on as client and then wife, controlling her career and entire sense of self, even as she became a groundbreaking name in boxing, as Don King's first female star. Her husband was there to bring her crashing back down to earth. Over a fatiguing 135 minutes, we watch the rise and inevitable fall. Michôd broke out with the blazing crime drama Animal Kingdom, but there's none of that fire still burning here. The only real connection would be a continued interest in showing us the very worst of human behavior, as we bear witness to Jin's vile treatment of his wife. It has an obvious visceral impact, but in how he chooses to linger on his final act of unspeakably awful violence, it can feel needlessly explicit. We know the beats of a boxing movie and a domestic violence drama all too well, and neither side of the story is told in a way that doesn't feel overly reliant on cliché. Foster sticks to an overfamiliar odious mode. He might as well have been introduced with red flags, and while the excellent Merritt Wever is saddled with a one-note bad mum role, She does more with it than the film deserves from her. Christy herself isn't written with any more depth than a Wikipedia summary. Dawn King tells her in one scene that she has some real personality, but where that is, I couldn't tell you. And it betrays what could have been in smarter hands. The more uniquely interesting details of who she was, the wrestle between masculinity and femininity, how this played into struggles over her queerness and marital gender roles. How being crafted by a man turned her into a distrustful anti-feminist, unwilling to recognize her groundbreaking impact and influence, are told to us in brief moments, but they never inform an otherwise ripped from a TV movie character. No wonder Sweeney struggles.